Ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, welcome to Soul Food Poetry Night. If this is your first time here, wave your toes or your hands or something. Welcome, glad you're here, especially on a pretty cool night. It's about time we had some cooler temperatures to welcome in the new season, or would you rather just wait another few months? I don't know. Um, Tonight we have two featured readers, then we'll take a break, and then we'll have our open mic. And if you'd like to sign up on the open mic list, it's right down here. And we have a question of the month, and this month's question is, what is your favorite winter beverage? And it could or could not have alcohol in it. I don't know. That's up to you. Something I'd like to announce before I forget is that our next Soul Food Poetry Night, we're usually meeting here on the third Thursday of the month. In December, it'll be 1 week early. So please remember that. And the date for that is December 12. So keep that in mind for next month. And our featured readers next month are Shinyu Pai and Jerry McFarland. So please come back for that. I also want to announce that we have a Reiki practitioner in the house who's giving free Reiki readings. So if you can tear yourself away from poetry, at the back corner over there, you could give yourself a Reiki treatment and then come straight back. So let's get to our featured readers. Our first featured reader tonight is Anne Spires. She is the first poet laureate of Vashon Island. And so I'm, as some of you know, I'm poet laureate of the city of Redmond. And so I'm glad to share that little duty with Anne. And it's more work than an honor, at least here in Redmond. I don't know what it's like for you. It does take some work. Her most recent chapbook is Bunker Trail from Finishing Line Press. And you have your books here, right?
Yes,
Yeah.
David will take the money.
Okay, excellent. All right. These poems relate a year of seasons in a beach cabin on Vashon Island's Bunker Trail. Previous chapbooks include Tide Turn, Volcano Blue, and A Wild Taste. Long Climb into Grace, the Herodotus poems, and What Rain Does. And you have at least a couple of those here. Spires leads workshops on writing poem cycles and on the art and craft of chapbooks. Her MA in literature and creative writing is from the University of Washington, and you probably studied with some great teachers there, I'm sure. And her webpage is annspires.com. So please help me welcome Anne.
I had lived on Vashon Island for 40 years and had been a poet for 40 years. And so I was walking down the main drag, and the wine guy said, "Oh, Anne, we want you to be poet laureate." And I said, "I don't think so." You know, all those years I've worked in the Vashon schools and Poetry Fest and Broadside Show and an art gallery. I mean, you know, it was just a really long list. I wanted to write a poem, you know, not do anything else. And I said, "No, you must be kidding. No, no, no." And then he kept coming back, and I said, "Oh, well, okay. I have some conditions." And he said, "What?" "That there's no added duties, and I get to pick the next poet laureate." And so when they gave me the piece of paper that said Vashon's poet laureate, it said, "This title has no duties, and you will advise the committee on who to choose next." So, but over time, I really grew into liking the title of poet laureate, because off the island you say, "Oh, I'm the poet laureate of Vashon," and people sort of looked at you, and I don't know if it was an admiration or amazement, but I learned to appreciate the honor. I want to read first from a series of poems looking for a publisher, a chapbook. I even have the design all done. Over the last 10 years, I've walked the coast from the Columbia River to Cape Flattery, and I'm writing a series of essays. and I was doing some of the walking when the macaws were doing their whale hunt. And my grandfather, Captain Wiley, shot one of the last whales commercially out of Bay City, Westport, off the Washington coast in the 1920s. So I thought perhaps I should work up some empathy for whales, but also for people who liked whales so much. And the poems are also about language, about speaking language in a foreign country, acting in a foreign country, seeing what you see from the outside in a foreign country. And so here's some of them. Landing in Baja. In Baja, I learned to fan my paper money on the table and with the left hand hold a palmful of coins. Take what I owe you, take what you need. What I say to the woman at the roadside stand is, por favor, tres tacos, carnes, no lingua, no cabeza, si, maize tortilla with naked shrimp swimming in mayo deluxe. What I want to say is, I know all Western movies end badly for Indians. She answers, si, but gives me tacos filled with machacha, beet threads, and crumbled queso. Perhaps she thinks this is what I need. The man sweeps the inn's courtyards, straight-backed in flannel shirt and jeans. He moves bougainvillea blossoms and laurel berries into mounds of color. Where he has tended, the dirt is neatened into rows. Japanese, I think, like a Buddhist monk raking white sand around large stones. Humility infuses the light around him. By the time I finish my coffee, I've created a noble history for him. The hunting guide talks Spanish at me. All I can muster are the words, cervezas, por favor. No cervezas arrive. Perhaps we shouldn't be here. I respond si to all he says. I found that repeating si, yes, si, is a quickest ticket for an exit. Back on the road, descending the flanks of Tres Vergenes volcano, David advises me that saying yes in another's tongue is a dangerous habit. We stayed in a small town called San Ignacio, and then there's a long road out to the lagoons where the whales are. And this particular town, you come down off the flanks of the volcano in Baja, and suddenly there's this little valley filled with date palms, and the Jesuits had brought date palms, and they flourished in this particular valley. And from the tourist point of view, of course, it was great looking because it was a very Spanish looking town with a small cathedral. And tourists. We are all in this boat together. She is squealing for the whale and the calf to swim to her. She wants to touch a whale. Come to mama. Come on, baby, light my fire. I want something else. She wants to nail Leonard Cohen his next tour through. Images rush me. Chelsea Hotel, now Berlin, and Suzanne down someplace salty, hallelujah. She asks, did you touch a whale? It's good luck to touch a whale, someone told her. I'm still on Leonard Cohen, him touching her, him coming down from Mount Baldy, robes hung on a peg, running from Roshi, but back on Boogie Street. What's it like? I asked to ward her off. Plastico, answers the tour guide. In my hand, a harpoon. I want a harpoon. Egress Studio Press published a series of love poems, any type of love that you can imagine in the world. I have a poem about in What Rain Does. When I was peddling my book up and down the coast, going into bookstores and saying, you want to take my book. And the best thing I could say was, it's really a beautiful book. And actually at Point Arenas, where Robert Haas lives nearby, the guy took the book and he says, I'll take 5. I said, oh, thank you. He says, when so many people come in and ask me, how should I put together a chapbook? I want to hand them this. I said, thank you. And I mean, it's an attractive cover. You can actually read it. It has a stiff outer, and it has a spine so it doesn't get lost on the bookshelf. So I'll read one poem. We've been blessed to have 2 grandchildren, and the first one is a boy, and he's half Thai, klung klung, one of the two. And when he was going to go to school in Columbia City neighborhood, I looked up Hawthorne Elementary School. And at that time, 5 years ago, there was a site that rated Washington State elementary schools 1 to 1,031. And guess where his school came in? 1,031st worst school in Washington State. But since then, the parents have got together, the money has flown by, thank you, and he's at the point now when we say, do you want us to read you a book, you know, a bedtime story? Oh, no. He's in 2nd grade. I'm reading a chapter book, and I bring 2 math books to bed with me just in case. So, and he loves school. So this is when he was an infant. To an infant, the bright light settles you out here on the porch, glassed in. I hold you, your arms and legs tucked to your chest as if in the womb. I show you what is out there, what's down those steps. To the left, the park where you will ride your bike, popping wheelies in the grass, rutting the green, and you will pump the swings aloft, someday launching yourself. Straight ahead, the lake where salmon still migrate from the ocean to spawn, to die. In late August, you will swim, dive for dimes, and come up shiny and wet. You will watch girls' dark cleavages deepen, and you will dance as their breasts lift. And on the hills mid-rise, the school, its new bricks covering old stone, teachers pile up the notebooks full and heavy. Kids fill the rooms with a ricochet of so many languages in this neighborhood, blocks of houses and lawns and sidewalks and street lamps. Your language will be English, Thai, Spanglish, hip-hop, Somalian, Chechen, Mandarin, Rez, a mix native to you and your friends. But for years, after you learn to walk, you will come home each night, up these stairs, for a while, to touch your mother's shoulder, and at the dinner table, you will edge your father over a little each night. For a while you will, that is. Then you will walk away, and I will remember for you this moment on the porch, and you in my arms wrapped so tight, and the east sun brightening your space here. Finishing Line Press, back east, took my chapbook, and between the acceptance and me sending in the final manuscript, I realized that they do like 40, 50 chapbooks a year. So I felt free to take in and add a few poems, and no one noticed. But I think that they did a very, very good job. My older son, Bolinus Frank, did this of the moon rising over Puget Sound with the crab and the woman. And if I was more courageous, you'd see the entire woman. But I figured this was enough. We raised our 2 boys on Bunker Trail on the north end of Vashon Island. The ferry docks and to the sort of the easterly is a long trail with about 28 homes on it. There is no car access. There's a hill behind, and between our cabin, the next piece of land we could see up north was Whidbey Island. And for years, we would watch the north wind come in and take other people's bulkheads back when they were pilings, and they pop up and they pop all the way down. And it was very exciting until our turn came. And so this chapbook is It goes through the year, starting with standing in the rain and then ending through that year of crisis. The tide, June 30th. The tide twice daily sorts sand and pebbles, bits from eons of mountains wearing away, smooth basalt, rough granite, slick gabbro. You collect over and over the same rock. I watch you pick up a beach find, small, delicate, and bleached white. In your hands, bird bones again learn flight. We trespass in something large. We build cabins. We squat close to wave, mud, fire, rain, wind, and tree. We count our stay not in lifetime or decades, but in days and tide turns. Fourth of July on the trail was always fun. And but there was rules. Mostly was shoot it out over the water and only at high tide. July 4, Johnny comes marching home again. Fire over the water is the first rule. My boys sit on the bulkhead, ready to shoot off illegal bottle rockets, mail ordered from South America. Not dozens, but a deal. Thousands. As I carry out rule number 2, the impatient boys, fingers already stinking of gunpowder, stand in yesterday's field of thin paper, the confetti of independence. They light the punks and stick 4 dozen rockets into beer bottles. I run next door to notify Spanky, Vietnam vet, of the impending racket so he can hunker down for the duration. The boys say, bending to light the fuses, she must have told him by now. Watching the rockets arc and explode, the littlest said, he told me. It's the rocket you don't hear that kills you. Cool, the other guys say, cool. There's something wonderful about having too much food. And so this is about the joy of too much. October 10. And this is done in Adelaide Crapsey quatrain. She was a poet that lived at the turn of the century, and it's like 2 syllables, 4 syllables, 6 syllables, 8 syllables, and then 2 syllables. Hungry. We net twisting smelt from the breaking waves, eagles feast, silver scattering crazy salmon so plentiful, their splishes racket upstream, bear smell hot at every switchback. So thick, huckleberry milked from the stem plunk plunk in our buckets, fresh scat purple with fruit. So much we cannot stop, heavy loads, just one more, wood stove glowing into the night, crowded, horse clams, jarred up erect, apple slices strung on grocery string, zigzag across the room. So much. Steam, heat, and smoke, days filled with doing, one by one, too much. Oh, thank God, the glut. When you live at the bottom of a 125-foot cliff, you always are aware of what the surface water is doing. And so this is December 8th. In the dark, I'm on my knees in the rain. Water is eroding the trail. I use my windshield wiper to free the grate from a load of gravel and pine cones. I cut a channel in the driveway ruts. I build dikes rat-sized to save stairs falling like bad teeth into the gorge last year's runoff gouged for us. I'm on my knees, diverting water into the night. And then our turn came. I think it was 1990 maybe, and the wind came the entire fetch from Woodby Island right to our bulkhead. New Year's Eve, 8 p.m. His body is well dressed in wool coat and heavy gloves. His body rides the currents from the Narrows up north Colvis Pass Straits. passes our iced windows to beach on Dolphin Point. His body is covered with care and wool and knit. New Year's Eve, midnight. Sandbags are a mesh of smell, dormant in stacks of dozens. Each beach has a load of sand that migrates back and forth. We shovel load after load into bellies of sandbags in the night and north wind. Sandbags have a rough stink, hemp, creosote, and sea mire. New Year's Day, 3 a.m. For decades, I did this dream, waking deeper, blacker into its hole. The cabin splinters, waves work dark rafters and pilings akimbo, exposing chairs, children's bunks. The fire settles to a fizzle. Elated to get the task over, I lean in, pulling our sons up and up by the wrists. When you live where you're facing east, sun becomes something precious. And on the beach, we actually waited for the sun to come back around Dolphin Point. February 21st. This rumor fills all winter. Some years the sun comes back around Dolphin Point. The whole earth tilts in its orbit. The sun pushes northward. Squinting, we marvel for days. We are blinded. Tinfoil turns terrible with light. Although there is none, we search for color, imagining yellow or purple. We guard by the crocus and forsythia, whispered to break first. We pretend this sun has heat. Then. It was a longer year. I'm selecting poems. And the final poem, July 3rd. Empty space replaces the big things. The sofa goes, my notes go, children long gone go. Hitchhiking out, mildew snuggles into the folds of wool. The immortal rat finally crawls away to die under the scent of mock orange, entangled in the honeysuckle night. The noise stays. Eagle, heron, and crow continue. Stellar jay and twitty bird bother the undergrowth. The smell stays. Seaweed rising. All taste stays salty. Lick of seashell, crunch of kelp. All fear stays too. Alder crack, moving trees, insistence of horsetail, whomp of mudslide, voices up high in the green belt. And never again, down in our bellies, will waves pound. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Anne. Our next reader is Janae Bauer, and she is the author of 2 collections of poetry, The Body's Physics and Coordinates of Yes. And you have both of them here? One of them, okay. She has received awards from the Jack Straw Foundation, Lurman Trust, the Island Institute of Sitka, and was a 2008-2010 Humanities Washington Inquiring Minds speaker. Her nonfiction, fiction, and poetry have been published in Boulevard, Nanofiction, Verse Daily, and Portland Review. Her performance venues include Bumbershoot Arts Festival and the Library of Congress, and now Soul Food. Currently, she is an associate editor of Stringtown. Is that right? And she teaches literature at the University of Phoenix. Please welcome Janae.
So I had surgery, abdominal surgery on Friday, so if I collapse, just let me lie there for a minute. My throat's a little sore from being intubated, but I'm happy to be breathing on my own. Friday I didn't get to do that all day, so something to take for granted. So I am going to, so this is The Body's Physics, my newest full-length collection, which was released in July. I was first a anatomy physiology major and went on to work as a scientist in a laboratory for many years. And so my first love is human anatomy. And I come back to that in this collection, which is a celebration of the human form. Sometimes it is a great blessing, our body, and sometimes a great burden. And so I explore those nuances in this book. Also, I should say that about half of the poems in the book are ekphrastic poems, poems to the visual arts, which has been really great in terms of, being drawn in by a painting of a figure and then using some of my scientific expertise to help me sort of dive into, what I think and what I feel, or, the ineffable. So I have 5 sections in this book under the auspices of the body, the heart, nurture, mind, and nature. And I'm just going to read most of the poems in the last section, nature, and then I will read the soul food poem that I feel fits the theme. When Mercury's in retrograde. Caught in your orbit, Mercury, I refuse extrication, for liberty's overrated and your arms are half moons. Predictable nights, this cycle of lost and losing things. The lampshade slouches in worry. Alarm clock sounds at random. The Vaseline begins to desiccate. The tide arrives, asking me to recede with it, promising summer stowed in a hand-painted urn. But I just want the lost sounds, the swish of windshield wipers in a torrent, crashing glass, the clap of wet sneakers on 6 a.m. pavement. Then the poems come, poems of people I had forgotten and shame, poems in cadences that turn against the language, poems in black ink written on black paper. Full moon, after the painting by Paul Klee. The blur of space began diminutive by browns taking back their night, of yellow lost in a sky full of stairs. Clay began green, then surrendered lemon. His moon pinned like a compass needle, mere round among angles of browns, blues, and definitive sides of squares, triangles. His brush strokes want something, like how bread can't feed a refusing mouth. No chance to right competing angles when the moon stares down like a warden. This night has lost its license to brighten, and no amount of cadmium yellow will do. Hunger, somehow always backlit, seeks us out. Birthday in Leavenworth, Washington. Rainwater needling needles of ponderosa pine, thrumming leaves of cottonwood. The swallows have gone, no hawks, eagles, or magpies either. Javelins from clouds land circles, pot marking the patio's planks. Lavender lupines shiver. Balsam roots petals saturated. The Wenatchee River Its surge over rock sprints through its wilderness. The Labrador scurries out the door, dashes down the flagstone stairs to the river, jumps knee-deep into it. Head underwater, she forces bubbles out her nose, scores a stick. Unrepentant, she makes her mark, relocating objects, gnawing wood. She's leaving a pattern on the universe, one branch, one swallow at a time. The certainty of a changing world pilots uncertainty in each animal's body. To snag the fleeting, to relish the static, apprehend river's howl and all that dwells on riverbed. A vase of lupines, balsam roots, and lilacs on the table now. The room slowly quits its light, falls gray. Thinking of poppies in July. Near graves in early June, poppies push up through earth. Orange petals, delicate as skin, crinkle inside green sleeves. Petals grow to pleats, into plaits, poppy orange skirts. When all you have left is orange memory of June, this is the truth the dead know. The dead get seedling to sprig and the motivation of soil as subterranean life navigates caskets and tombstones. Poppies spring orange near graves, as if to spite death, as if in command of their own stupid beauty. Autumn. Some maverick leaves cling to branches engorged red, brown, orange. I retrieve newly dropped maples, suicide blondes not yet curled stiff with sun. When I bring a sack full home, my tabby walks worried circles around me. She apprehends one, nibbles it, gnaws the last shards of summer. Later, autumn hues hacked up from her thin throat. Something we could not carry. Each of us gets it. Students, conductors, trustees. Our sodden clothes cling to skin like a memory of something we could not carry. The sun's orange and the sky blue, unreachable when storms storm. First the drought, a cloudy uncertainty, then the thunderous response, darkness punctured light. Through the rainy assault, the orchestra continues to play. Notes soar above the thrash of water. Da 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 da, da 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 da. Water spears, heat, lightning, the thunder follows far off as storm advances. showers down in grisly streams. The rain is non-discriminating. Children caught outside, screaming, frenzied, their little feet slapping up the road. Inside they wait together, covered, writing out the storm and its insoluble plea. When the rain has had its say, sky clears over its swollen earth which refuses to be drowned, and the sky again bleeds its blue magnificence. Pollution, cultivation, nouveau écologie, after the installation by Tetsumi Kudo. In a terrarium, 4 tidy rows of synthetic flora with radio parts popping up like thistle and dandelion. Flowers wilt taffy purple and pink, a membranous stringing down as if melted by a real sun. Rows of neon green and orange phalluses spring up beside batteries and electrical parts, a kind of science project of human reproduction. Minuscule resistors and fuses sprout in a singular plot, as if any argument could be formulated to ban the man-made and God-made. Humans, information receptacles, respond Pavlovian to televisions, computers, phones, ears trained to certain frequencies, grow lamps to guide us to where everything's burned to a crisp or dead on the vine, decayed origin. Crop season. Discarded by the side of the road, I rise and begin to investigate. Crop names in the fence lines read sweet corn, grain corn, peas, wheat, alfalfa. And it occurs to me I know nothing of crops, planting season, and predictions of rain. Perhaps a farmer can tell me. I ask one and he says, "You're a felon here, a burden to society. Where you walk, the ground gives way." So I look over my shoulder and he's right. Where I had been is now sinkholes stirring dust. In my wake, some crops swivel, some are broken at the base. I did this. The farmer spits and turns away. I study the pattern of his flannel shirt and wonder, should I compact myself small enough to climb upon his back and ignite the strips of blue, strips of green? Instrument of bone. There's an artisan who murders, shakes bones clean of blood and tissue, scoops out marrow, flings it into the fire. He carves a mouthpiece, punches holes, passes breath, and stops holes. Through bones, upon bones, music. meeting the scribe. Drive with the headlights off, in the dark, nearing midnight. Tonight you will sleep in an unfamiliar bed. Park, walk to the picnic table, climb on, press your spine to the wood, the stars, the wavering sky, historian, with its gas formations, constellations you cannot name, one star in flight, axial heat can sear your eyes, you supine, an audience of one. The sky recognizes this. It does not blind you. Meditation on solitude. Here, the night is yours. No one lurking in its dark folds. Marvel in the journey. Rest your head against a tree bole. Slide onto a dilapidated bench or march into Green Lake. No one will ask where you've been. Enter night's quietude. Pull it inside you. You are beholden to the Milky Way, the maples and stone-stripping feet. You don't grow more balanced, but find ease with being unbalanced. Even in solitude, you are not. The crows, the caterpillars, the squirrels in their drays. The ground you traverse will not mislead you. It will hold you up. Here's the last poem. Poem beginning with a line by Jane Hirshfield. On the days when the rest have failed you, let this much be yours. Place your loved things on this windowsill, that picture in an orange frame, the sprawling ivy once a sprig. Let the shirt be yours, the worn pattern against your chest. Leave the others hanging. The doors you opened, lock shut. And the fruit in a clear glass bowl, let their scraps of sun be yours. Swing the window to the extent of its hinges. Let the extension be yours. The white porcelain tub is empty. It is brimming. Soaring heat, votive candlelight, encircling scent of lavender. Let the smell be yours, and the live shadows, the steam flushing pores. Let the rest fall from you, those days, overturned containers, splinters. The sound of breaking water surface, let the submergence be yours. When the rest is waiting, leave it to wait. Thank you.
Thank you, Janae, especially after so soon after your operation. Thank you for making it here and not falling down. For those of you who haven't seen it already, recently the Redmond Association of Spoken Word published an anthology called Here, There, and Everywhere. And if you're interested in seeing copies, I'll have them down here if you want to take a look. I'd also like to read you something and try something that we've never done here before. And that is a writing assignment if you would like to participate. And this is the assignment. Write a sentence that you've never said to a cop. And I want you to be as far-fetched as you can. And this is an example for you. A sentence I've never said to a cop. Sorry for speeding, officer, but my child's beer almost spilled on my handgun while I was sexting with the underage sadist mistress of the former head of the Aryan Brotherhood. So it's your turn while we take a break for 10 or 15 minutes. Get something to drink. If you haven't signed up on the sign-up list, it's right down here. And then we'll get going with the open mic. And if you feel like writing a sentence that you've never said to a cop, we'll try that too. Thank you. Let's take a break.
Well, my baby's coming home tomorrow. Ain't that new? Lord, ain't that new? I got a letter just the other day telling me that she was on her way, and she wanted me to meet her at the station. Ain't that good news? Man, ain't that new? In the letter, she told me she loved me. Ain't that good news? Lord, ain't that new? In the letter, she told me she loved me. Ain't that new? Lord, ain't that new? She says she's sorry that she left. Found out she don't want nobody else. Said she want me all to herself. Ain't that good news? Lord, ain't that new? Ain't that new? Ain't that good news? Lord, I know that's good news. Well, my baby's coming home tomorrow. Ain't that good news? Lord, ain't that new? Station. Ain't that good news?